Welcome to the Week 11 NFL Grueling Truth Pick'em Show, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is the best sports book out there. I mean, I won $75 this week and got paid off within 48 hours. The week before, I won a little over 60. The week before that, well, I lost a little bit. We won't talk about that. You can go to the Grueling Truth, click on the banner. It will take you straight through. You also have an option to use a TGT50 code, which will give you 50% on any money that you put into your account. I'm the host for the NFL Weekly Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in the biggest loser. And he was the biggest loser on the college football show this week, too. But he does lead overall for the season by a game now in both. Help me welcome to the show, Brian, Oz for the Week, Davis.
I am so disappointed right now with my performance. So tonight I went out. I made sure that I had plenty of refreshment so that I can get back on the proper trail to winning this thing. So,
all right,
let's get it going.
The big winner this week, and not just a big winner because the San Francisco 49ers finally won a game. He was 10-4. Help us welcome to the show the vacationer, Matt Andruscavage.
Vacationer indeed. I am on vacation in sunny Florida. It was good to see my Niners pull off a win. And to my surprise, I won the Pick'em show. So it's been a good weekend so far.
All right. Also, in second place was myself at 9-5, and Alex Golden was 9-5. How you doing, Alex?
Oh, I'm terrific. How are you doing?
All right. And your Colts almost beat the hated Steelers.
Yeah, well, the Colts, they're a three-quarter team, so, first three quarters look great. The fourth quarter look like the Colts.
All right, guys. While Oz cackles in the background excitedly because he didn't come in last this week, we'll start with Oz. What was your biggest takeaway from this week, Oz?
Well, I think that my new opinion is we should just shut down the NFC for the rest of the year. Because I think the 6 teams right now that would be in the playoffs today, I've got the Eagles, Saints, Panthers, Vikings, Rams, and Seahawks, are the 6 teams that should play in the playoffs, and I don't want to see any more of their players get injured. So I'd just like to see them shut down the season.
All right. Brian?
For me personally, once again, how the Steelers come off bye weeks and play so badly, and then they play down to the competition. But more of an NFL thing, again, the Rams, boy, they're fun to watch. And it is really good to see teams that were so bad last year, and they turn around and they have this turnaround. But not only are they having a turnaround, but they're actually enjoyable to watch. Some of these teams in the NFL, you watch them and you think, man, I'd rather watch paint dry. But the Rams are actually an enjoyable team to watch. So that was fun. I mean, granted, the Texans right now offensively are an absolute cluster, but still, the Rams are a fun team to watch.
Brian, are the Steelers fun to watch right now?
There are times, yes, and there are times when I would rather put an ice pick through my eyeball.
Well said.
All right. There have been a lot of times since I've known Brian that he's wanted to stick an ice pick in his head, so that's not really that big a deal.
And there have been times I've actually done it, so that explains all the holes in my head.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Let's go to Matt Andruscavage, the vacationer, Robinson Crusoe, down there in Florida on an island.
Yes.
What's your big takeaway outside of the fact that the New York Giants are god-awful and the Cleveland Browns have got to want to petition the NFL to schedule them right now?
Yeah, I think the Giants – I personally think the Giants maybe the worst team in football. I think they got real problems, just probably at the head coaching position. That I just can't believe they're not going to do anything about it. But as far as the NFC goes, Oz already talked about Brian talked about the Rams already. So I'll talk about the other teams that are interesting to me. I think the Vikings are really surpassing expectations. Case Keenum's making a case that he could be starting elsewhere if they're going to play Teddy Bridgewater. And also the New Orleans Saints. I did not see this coming. I'm not sure how many people really thought they were going to be atop the NFC South, but man, they look really good right now, and their defense is vastly improved. They could be a real problem in the postseason. So those are the two teams besides the Rams that I found very interesting. And I think the Seahawks are in real trouble. I don't think they're going to be on your 6 to make the playoffs.
Really?
With all the injuries they got.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think they're out.
I'll talk about it.
Well, that's kind of my take. I think Seattle's done. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think you got teams like Detroit, whose schedule is really weak at the end of the season, that if they even play halfway decent, they're going to win 10 or 11 games. And I don't see Seattle as more of a 9-win team. So I think Seattle's in trouble. The other thing is, I don't think there's any doubt right now that the NFC is better than the AFC. You get the Eagles, Saints, Rams. They might be the 3 best teams in football. You get the Patriots on the AFC side. You've got Pittsburgh, who sometimes looks like they could do it, and Kansas City, who sometimes look like they can do it. But overall, to me, if I had to pick a Super Bowl right now, I would say New England against one of those 3 NFC teams.
New England against somebody.
Yep. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start picking this week. Brian has a 1-game lead over Matt, a 2-game lead over me. Wait, he's tied. He's tied with Matt, 1 game over me. We're going to start off with the guy with the worst record here. Well, Alex, I didn't get to ask you your take on the week yet.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to forget me, Can't even pronounce my name right half the time. So
I forgot you were a millennial, so now we got a snowflake.
Yeah, well.
A snowflake and a liberal. Hey, that sounds like a good show. Alex and Oz, we'll call it the Snowflake and the Liberal.
The Snowflake and the Liberal. Yeah,
a safe space for snowflakes and liberals.
I don't think the world will be ready for that. Me and Oz might take over the podcast universe. But no, I guess if I had to give my well, if I had to give my take for this week, I think we joked about it last week with Ezekiel Elliott being suspended every other week and then getting, taken back, whatever. And so now he loses his appeal and he's out for the next 6 weeks. And I think that pretty much just puts a fork in the Cowboys. I mean, as good as that offensive line is, they don't have a playmaker like Ezekiel Elliott to really push them. So I think that the Redskins actually don't have to worry about the Cowboys coming after him. We know the Eagles are going to win that division, but for the wild card purposes, I really think that the Redskins have a chance now, especially with Dallas being out. And the same goes for Atlanta, who needed that win this week against Dallas. I think we all picked the Cowboys, but we all expected Ezekiel Elliott to play, and if he wasn't going to play, I think we all might have, picked the Falcons just because Elliott's that big of a playmaker. So that was my biggest take from the week.
All right, I think my biggest problem there is this. The Dallas Cowboys line is overrated. They've got injuries on it. 2 years ago, they were by far the best line. Last year, I think they were top 10, but they've lost a guy or two. They've got the injury to their starting tackle right now. So I think that's a bigger problem than Ezekiel Elliott even. I mean,
this is the thing. This is the thing, Mike, is I heard this on ESPN. The talking heads were saying, okay, what's worse for the Cowboys? Not having Ezekiel Elliott or not having Tyron Smith? And the answer is, the answer is yes. I mean, you're talking about you're missing your franchise halfback and your all-pro left tackle. You can't miss both those pieces. I'm sorry. And you saw what happened last week. I mean, dude alone racked up 6 sacks against this guy. Against this
missing Tyron Smith is a bigger deal than missing Ezekiel Elliott. They've got Alfred Morris, who's a good running back. If you had the offensive line that they had together last year, Alfred Morris would run for 1,300 or 1,400 yards in 16 games without a problem.
Yeah. They were top 10.
They can't protect Prescott right now.
Yeah. No.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead for the games this week. We're going to start off with Thursday night, the Tennessee Titans against, of course, the hated Pittsburgh Steelers. Brian, Pittsburgh is a 7-point favorite. What would you do with the spread, and who are you picking straight up?
Pittsburgh will take that spread. Here's the thing about Pittsburgh, and this is every year. What do they do the game after the bye week? If you look at their record, they've always played really well. They always play crappy coming out of a bye week, and heaven help if they're playing somebody who shouldn't even be on the field with them. Now, and then when we saw that Sunday, you added both of those together, and what you got was a game that is why there's AA meetings, because it was a game that you just want to drink as you watch. It was horrible. But then they come back the next week coming out of those games, and they always play really well, and I expect that to happen here. So not only will Pittsburgh will they cover that spread, but they'll win the game. They'll win it easily.
All right, I'm gonna go with Brian. I'm gonna pick the Steelers to win the game, but if I'm betting this, I'm taking Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a solid team. They haven't played to the best of their abilities yet. But I also think this. I think a team that's 5-4 or 6-3 right now that hasn't really played that well is more dangerous than a team that might be 7-2 right now. Because how many times have we seen a team start a season out hot and then kind of fall off? So I think there's a chance here that maybe Tennessee over the next few weeks can take off. But like I said, I would take Tennessee in the points, but I would take Pittsburgh to win the game. Oz?
No, Mike, you know what? I'm going to disagree with you slightly because
I'm right then.
Because the rhetoric at thegruelingtruth.net that I believe in and that you mostly tout is that, look, most teams in the NFL trend towards 8-8, right? They trend towards mediocrity. So if you ask me, any team right now that has 5 wins is looking to lose this week.
Well, I think Tennessee has 6.
Okay. All right. Well, and
so if you want to disagree with me, Oz, at least have your facts right.
Okay. All I'm saying is this. The argument that Pittsburgh is going to make up some of these games is not necessarily true. Pittsburgh is going to end up being close to a 500 team like most teams in the AFC.
Pittsburgh or Tennessee?
I think Pittsburgh. I think Tennessee is
7-2.
I think Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Are they 7-2 right now? I have the standings up, but I'm not seeing straight right now.
Man, you're drowning right now, Oz. You're drowning. Throw him a life
I would,
raft,
in any case, I'm taking Tennessee plus the points, and I'm taking Tennessee to win outright. I'll go with the upset. I'll go with the upset. Look, Pittsburgh is coming off of 4 days. Everybody's sitting here going, oh, my God, it's such a mystery why Pittsburgh is so bad out of the bye. But yet every other show, you guys are going, oh, my God, the coaching in Pittsburgh brutal. Pittsburgh is coming off a 4 days rest for this game. They're going to a Thursday game. Wacky things happen on Thursday, okay? Pittsburgh did not look good last week. Ben Roethlisberger was thinking about retiring at the beginning of the season. A game like this is going to remind him why he was thinking about that. Tennessee's going to win.
Tennessee also only has 4 days rest. Tennessee played a close game, and Tennessee has to go to Pittsburgh.
I'm sticking with Tennessee.
All right.
Sticking with Tennessee.
Matt?
Yeah, I think the real factor in this game is that Pittsburgh's at home. And I think Brian kind of hit it on the head here. I mean, this is the time of year where, Pittsburgh coming out of a bye, that is historically not their strongest game. But then right after that, they tend to play pretty well here. I don't really see any reason to pick against Pittsburgh right now. They're 7-2. Yeah, they're struggling, but this is the kind of game where I could see them winning 14, 17 points. So I'm going to take them in the spread and a win.
All right, Alex Golden?
Yeah, I think if there's anybody that knows anything about the Steelers, it's Brian, and so it would be kind of dumb to go against him here, especially when they're playing a team like Tennessee who's been mediocre at best this season, even though their record says they're 6-3. they could easily be on the flip side of that and be 3-6 on some of the close games they've lost or won.
They're minus 8.
You can say that about Pittsburgh, and every other team is 6-3 or 7-2 in the NFL, though, Alex.
Yeah, but it's Tennessee we're talking about. It's a team that I won't believe in until I see it. And right now, I still think Jacksonville is the team to beat in the AFC South. And Pittsburgh's only got a 4-game lead on Cincinnati, so they need to make sure they keep ahead of that division there. So I'm.
Oh man, it took him 15 minutes to go there.
It doesn't.
It only took him 15 minutes to go there.
The Bengals still beat the Colts. All right. Next up, we got Jacksonville minus 7.5 against Cleveland. I'll start this one. I'm going to take Jacksonville just because Cleveland's the Browns. Alex?
Yeah, Jacksonville and the points.
Schmitty?
Jacksonville and the points.
Matt?
Jacksonville and the points. No way it did not do that.
And Oz. Here we go. Do it, Oz.
Here we go.
Do it, Oz.
Okay, not quite. Not quite. I'm going to disappoint you guys a little bit.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they covered that spread, though.
Oh, they're covering. They're covering. You know why? Because the Jacksonville offense is brutal. It's brutal. I mean, I watched this game last week. I watched the Jacksonville Chargers game last week because that was playing in the local market. I was watching this against the CFL game. CFL game was a lot better, by the way. But Jacksonville offense is brutal. They can't move against anybody. And Cleveland Browns defense has some players. I think they'll cover this spread. Yeah, but Cleveland will do anything it takes to lose. So,
all right, the next game, Oz, since you don't want to shut up, I'll go ahead and ask you to start this one first.
Go.
Detroit minus 3 at Chicago.
Okay, well, I just had a take on Trubisky. Trubisky, one of the things that people didn't talk about was how in college he took the great majority of his snaps out of the shotgun. And it looks to me that
I did during our draft show. Didn't you pay attention?
There you go. Well, Mike, that was a long time and many beers ago. Let me tell you. I've had a few spliffs since then, so the memory is not 100% on that. But in any case, and I think this is showing these days. No, he's taken too many steps back. They're not confident calling pass plays. The running game is not as strong as it was in the first quarter of this season. So, the other stat I had was that these teams are both top 11 in defense. One of them is 10, one of them is 11. I say take the under. I'll take Chicago because I think the rest of you guys are going to take Detroit. So
all right. Matt.
Yeah, I like Detroit in this game. Detroit has they've lost. There was that period where they lost 3 games in a row. Those are all really tough losses. I think Detroit's a really good football team. They've got a couple of issues. I think they'd be a lot better if they had a stronger running game. But I was not impressed at all with.
Were you impressed with them last week when Cleveland was giving them a game? Was that impressive?
They won.
Well, that can happen.
Okay.
Fair enough. But it comes down to how did Detroit play when they had to make plays. And I think Detroit, when they really got to get something done, they've got the offense to do it, and they've got a good enough defense. So I was not impressed at all with the way the Bears played against the Packers. The Packers are right for the pickings, and the Bears couldn't get anything done whatsoever. I don't really see how they're going to be any better against Detroit. So I'm going to take Detroit with the points too.
All right, Alex Golden. Alex, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Matt there. I think the Bears are just hit or miss, and you never know what Bears team is going to show up. And so their defense could give Detroit some problems, but I don't really trust them. Now with Detroit though, I don't think they're as good as Matt actually says they are. I think they're more of a wild card team that will get into the playoffs, but they'll probably lose in their first round. Just not enough of a running game there, and they just have some holes on their team that I don't feel like they're a complete team. And like I told you last week, I thought Minnesota, and that was a must-win for Minnesota to try to keep that lead on Detroit because Detroit's schedule, like you mentioned earlier, Mike, is really easy. So they still have a chance at the division, but I'm not buying it with the way Minnesota's playing in the division right now. But yeah, I think the Lions will win this game.
All right. I kind of agree with Matt and a little bit. We have on Spreaker, you can go on Spreaker chat if you're listening and talk to us. But we had a listener who asked how Detroit stacks up against the other NFC teams. And I think they kind of fall right in the middle. And I think right in the middle is good enough to beat Chicago. I think Matthew Stafford is better than Mitch Trubisky. So I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm going to give them the points. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit. But Chicago is so hit and miss. It's hard to ever pick them because you don't know which Chicago team is going to show up. Detroit, well, they're certainly not the class of the NFC. They're still a good football team and certainly good enough to beat Chicago.
All right, the next game, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs minus 10.5 at the New York Football Giants. Do we have to even go through this? Does anybody think the Giants are going to win this game?
Giants are done.
Anybody?
I wish McAdoo was done.
All right, how about the 10.5 points? Would you take the Giants with 10.5? Anybody?
No.
All right. I guess we'll call this everybody's picking the Chiefs. All right. Next up, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Miami Dolphins. There's no line yet. I assume that's because of the quarterback situation in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay at Miami, Brian.
Yeah, originally when I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make the show, I think I went with Tampa Bay, but with the quarterback situation, this is a hard game to pick, but I think I'm going to switch it up a little. I think I'm going to go with Miami.
All right, Matt.
I was kind of hoping I'd be the only one to take Miami, but no, I agree with Brian. I think they got a real problem over in Tampa Bay, and Miami being at home, I think it just gives them a little extra something to squeak this game out.
All right, Oz.
Oh, I just want to point out that Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I said was going to win the revenge game against the Jets, did with a stirring 17 of 34, 187-yard performance. He was awesome. But nevertheless, that was against the Jets. I don't think the Dolphins are going to sack him 6 times. I don't think that the Dolphins are nearly as good as the Jets. So, yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this game.
All right. Alex.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Oz here. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. That win last week over the Jets was a much-needed win for them, and I think right now, like you've been saying over and over this whole entire show we've been doing it, that Tampa Bay's coach is, on the hot seat, and so they probably got more to play for here. I know Miami's still living on Jay Cutler, which is not a good person to be betting money on, and I think he's terrible. So, we'll go with Tampa Bay here.
All right, I think I'm going to go with the Snowflake and the Millennial.
Word.
That's the same thing now, the Snowflake and the Liberal. I'm going with the Snowflake and the Liberal. I think the game's a toss-up. I don't think either team's very good, but I'm going to go with the Bucs here. The next game, Alex, interesting game. Baltimore -2 at Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, that is interesting. I'm going to pick Baltimore here. And I think they're going to win on both ends of the spread and the game. I just think Baltimore, honestly, let's just be honest, Green Bay is not very good without Rodgers. Even though they won last week, it was the Bears. The Ravens still have a playoff chance, and I don't think the Packers do. So I've got the Ravens.
All right, I'm going to go with the Packers. I think Brett Hundley's a good quarterback. I think he's going to get better every week. They're at Green Bay. Joe Flacco doesn't have any weapons to throw to. So I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take Green Bay, Brian.
Oh, man, this is another one where I believe when I wasn't sure if I was going to be here, I picked the Ravens, and now the more I think about it, I'm kind of leaning towards you on this. I'm kind of leaning towards Green Bay. In Green Bay, I don't know that Hundley's that good of a quarterback, but I know this. Baltimore has 0 weapons, and Green Bay seems to find ways to win games in Green Bay. I'm going to go with Green Bay on this. I'm going to change my pick. I'm going to go Green Bay.
All right. Matt Andruscavage, I know you're a big Packer fan. Matt, the thing I just realized is this. Since I picked Green Bay, I'm going to actually cheer for him to win the game.
You got to do what you got to do, Mike. You got to tie this up. But I think I'm going to be extending my lead because I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to tell you why. Aaron Jones and Ty Montgomery both got hurt. Green Bay is down to their third or fourth string running back. They have absolutely no run game. It's going to all fall on the shoulders of Brett Hundley, and I'm telling you, he is an average quarterback at best. Baltimore has Alex Collins, who is one of the top rushers in football. I think they will have enough offense to win, and I would take John Harbaugh any day over Mike McCarthy. I'm telling you, Baltimore is going to win this game.
He's getting cocky, Brian. Oz.
He is.
I know. That's the 49ers won a game, so now he thinks, everything's all right with the world again.
No, I think that because I've been leading over you almost the whole season, so I'm just going to go with that.
Well, see, if I remember right, last year I led over you almost the whole season, and then I came back and won.
You were leading, and then you came back and won. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a new year.
New way we do it. Oz.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one.
Well, I was in the lead. He came back and took the lead, and then I came back and won.
All right. Gotcha.
I see.
You came back and tied it. That's right.
Yeah, I came back and won.
You came back and won.
We've already established, since I'm the host, I make
the host of the
rules.
show, right?
If it's tied, I win. If actually, I'm thinking about changing the rules this year to whereas as long as I'm within 5 games, I'm declared the winner.
I knew that is about the only way you can win these types of things, Mike, is when you're in charge. So we'll give it to you.
Yeah, well, I win because I'm in charge. So be quiet before I have to mute you on your vacation. All right.
Why don't you just let the biggest loser decide all ties? I'd be happy to do it.
Speaking of you, make the pick, Oz.
All right. Speaking of me, right. Okay, well, here's the thing about the Ravens. The Ravens are 2-9 in their last 11 away games, and one of those wins was against the Bengals this year, so you know what we can say about that.
Pretty good win.
Mike Goodpaster tells me that Hundley is a pretty good quarterback, so I'll take the Packers plus the 2, and I think this sounds like a pretty good money line bet at my bookie.
Yeah, -2, you can't beat that. Next up, we got a rematch at a 1974 and 1976 NFC Championship game. We've got the Los Angeles Rams at the Minnesota Vikings. Only it's not at Metropolitan Stadium in 10 degree below zero weather. Minnesota is favored by 2.5. This may be the game of the week, Oz.
Oh, it's got to be the game of the week. Oh, I think so. But I also think that this is going to be a sad part of the season for the Rams. The next 5 go like this. They're at Minnesota versus the Saints, at Arizona. That's a winnable game. Against the Eagles and at Seattle. They could very well go 1-4 over the next 5. I think they're going to lose this game. And I hate to say it, but Case Keenum is going to win the revenge game. The good thing about that, though, is here's another quarterback that we can point to and say, see, Jeff Fisher sucks.
All right. I didn't think we needed anything to point to that. I thought we could just randomly blurt that out.
Well, it's just another thing. Right. But see, nobody's talking about this. Because
nobody cares about Jeff Fisher.
And as a Rams fan, it bothers me that we threw away a year just for the nicety of moving the team to Los Angeles. We wasted a year of Todd Gurley because we had to keep this coach because the media likes him.
Wait a second, though. You can't blame it all on the coach. I mean, they didn't have Andrew Whitworth. They didn't have the center they've got. They didn't have the wide receivers they have. I don't think they're as bad last year if they have all that.
No, but they're not as good as they are this year with that coach. Yeah, well, I mean, okay. Do you think Fisher would have hired Phillips? No, because he would have been a threat to his authority as a mediocre coach.
Okay. Hey, real quick, we got a caller on the line. It's Jeff Fisher. Hold on.
All right.
All right, next up, Matt Andruscavage. Rams at Minnesota. Minnesota favored by 2.5.
Yeah, really tough game to call. I think this is probably the game of the week as well. Should be a very good game, but I think I'm going to have to go with Minnesota by a field goal. So I think this is one of those games where like you said, Oz, the Rams could be falling back here. I think this is just one of those games where the experience of the coach is going to be the difference.
Yeah.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I really want to. God, I want to take the Rams in this so bad, but I just think, and now, just in Minnesota with the cold and everything, this is going to kill me. I'll go with Minnesota.
You're going Minnesota? All right. Doesn't take much to kill Brian. Alex Golden.
No, it doesn't take much.
Go for the ice pick instead.
Well, maybe it's all the ice picks to the hand.
Right.
Probably.
Well, if the Rams win, there will be a nice pick.
No, it would be a nice pick if somebody picks it. Alex?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't have the guts to pick the Rams here. I think that Oz was right. These next 5 games for the Rams are going to be brutal, and we'll see how good the Rams really are. Not that we haven't seen that already, but this will be their biggest test, and I think that Minnesota's defense is just too good, especially traveling on the road. I'm going to take Minnesota here.
All right. If somebody needs guts, that's me. I'm going to take the Rams.
All right.
I'm taking the Rams. I picked them to win the division. I picked them to go to the NFC Championship game. I'm going to pick them to go to Minnesota and kick Minnesota's tail.
Who did they go to the NFC Championship game against? The Eagles or the Saints?
To start of the
They
year, I
got
had them
one
against,
of those two on the way.
Well, I had them a couple weeks ago against the Eagles, I think. No, wait, I had the Eagles against the Saints, so never mind. I'm still picking the Rams, though. And I still think the Rams win the division. They're better than Seattle. And at 7-2, with those 5 games, they win at least 2 of them. And I think 9 games can win them the division. And the way Seattle's falling apart right now,
well,
with
they
all
still
the injuries, they're going to go to Seattle and kick Seattle's tail.
The Rams still get Arizona, and we still get San Francisco. So
well,
that's
hell, if
2.
they get San Francisco, they get 2 wins for that.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah,
1.5.
Playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati. Well, yeah, Cincinnati. With 1 game. And we've still won 3 times as many games as you.
Yeah, 2 more games. Congratulations, Mike. You said your team is going to be a playoff game.
And we beat the Colts.
Your team will not be a playoff game. Good for you.
Neither will your team. You might get the number 1 pick.
It would be, though.
You might get the number 1
You
pick.
said your team was going to win the playoffs.
Actually, if you listen to the show before the year, I picked Pittsburgh to win the division.
Did you?
Yes, but you said your team would make the playoffs, and you gloated about it.
I didn't pick that.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Well, you pick everything. That way you're always right.
Yeah. So you're admitting I'm
you did
always
not,
right.
And you also did not pick the Rams to win the division. You said the Rams would not win the division, but it wouldn't surprise you if they were much improved. So you're right about
now,
that.
since we do the live show, I'm going to put the clip from me and Randy Cross on there where I picked the Rams. And also, I told
Randy
Oz
Cross,
before the season
that was
started.
into the season.
Oz, did I not tell you before the season the Rams were going to win the division?
See, I seem to remember that you did, but that was a phone call between the 2 of us. That was not on any of the shows or anything.
All right, but
so
he said something totally different to me.
Right.
He said something totally different to me.
How about this,
so
Matt?
that's all
I
good.
remember talking to you and Oz on a show where you told me the Rams would be last and the Niners were better than the Rams.
I did, and I admit that. I was wrong.
Okay, so you admit you were wrong.
I didn't make 50 predictions.
That's the difference between me and you.
One of them could be right.
Wrong. All right. I want to make sure, since all that happened, that I didn't forget Alex because he'll whine about it. All right. All right, guys. Right now, we've got to clean this mess up. We're going to go to the locker room. Schmitty and Alex are going to give us a pep talk, and we're going to come back for the second half. Check out this word from mybookie.ag.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Golden. I am the host of the Courtroom Podcast, an NBA debate show here at The Grueling Truth. And I'm here with one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money. The Grueling Truth has partnered with mybookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And that's why the Grueling Truth urges you to check out mybookie.ag. In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on mybookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now, and mybookie.ag will give you a 50% bonus on first deposit for up to $3,000 in extra playing money. Just enter promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to take advantage of this offer. Visit mybookie.ag, courtesy of the Grueling Truth Network, and enjoy winning today. mybookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid.
All right, guys, welcome back to the NFL Weekly Pick'em Show here on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. I'm here with our biggest loser, Brian Schmidt, the Hall of Fame biggest loser, Oz Davis, the man who likes to tie with me every year, Matt Andruscavage, and, of course, the voice of that commercial in the NBA Courtroom podcast, Alex Golden. We're going to go ahead. We're going to start off with Alex, since you got to do the commercial. Everybody got to hear that beautiful voice. Arizona at Houston. There's no point spread yet for the game because nobody knows who's playing quarterback in Houston. Last week, nobody did. So who you taking, Arizona or Houston, Alex?
I mean, do we really have to watch this game or pick this game? Because this game is just, this might be the worst game on the card this week.
It's a bad one.
Yeah, I guess if I had to pick, I think that Arizona's got the better running game and probably the better quarterback between Savage and Stan. So if those are the two that are going to play, I would go with Arizona, but I'm not picking any bet on this. I'd run away.
Hey, Alex, who would have ever thought that we would be talking about an NFL game and comparing Drew Stanton and Tom Savage?
Yeah, for real.
It's not going to be Drew Stanton. It's going to be Blaine Gabbert.
I think it's going to be
that's right.
Blaine Gabbert,
so now, who would have ever thought that we would be talking about Blaine Gabbert against Tom Savage? You know what? Colin Kaepernick has to be sitting in his house thinking, what the hell is going on?
Sure.
Nah, he's too busy posting for GQ, man. Come on now.
Not to mention 7 quarterbacks in the CFL. Going, I could be making real money.
Actually, there's probably 14 quarterbacks in the NFL that
yeah.
better than us. All right, Brian, you get to pick this magnificent matchup.
Yeah. The only reason I'm going to pick Arizona is because of Peterson. Because I don't think the Texans can score, and I think Peterson will do just enough. This could be a baseball score game, but I'll pick Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Arizona 7-6. Matt?
Yep, that was pretty much the score I was going to pick, like 10-6 or 7-6, because I just don't see where Houston's going to get any points. I think with Peterson on DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know. I mean, it's going to come down to what Tyrann Mathieu can do with Will Fuller, which I'm not really worried about there, just because I don't think Blaine Gabbert Tom Savage can get anybody the ball, and I certainly don't think Blaine Gabbert can throw. So it's just going to come down to Adrian Peterson, and I just don't see where Houston has a lot of defense. So I'm thinking, 9-6, 9-7, 10-6, something like that. We're in the favor of Arizona.
All right. Have we all picked Oz? Oz will have some great things to say about this game.
I sure will. I'm going with Houston. I don't really have anything great to say about this guy. I'm just going to go with Houston because of home field advantage. And Alex was saying run away from this game in betting. Take the under. Whatever it is, just take the under. You know, these guys are all saying it's 7-6. Yeah, sure. They're not going to make the under lower than 32. So if it's 32, take the under. There you go. That's a great bet.
There.
I'll take Houston.
Hey, and remember, you can go on to thegruelingtruth.net, click the mybookie.ag banner. It'll take you straight through. You put the money there. You tell them Oz Davis told you. You paid the rent. You paid the rent.
That's
all right.
The best bet of the week. That's the best bet of the week.
The next game, we've got the Washington Redskins at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are maybe the hottest team in professional football. They're an 8-point favorite. Matt?
Yeah, I think Arizona. I'm Arizona. I'm still on that game. That's pathetic.
That
New
is.
Orleans.
You should slap yourself.
Get over it.
That's awful. The New Orleans Saints at home, I think, are a really good football team. I'm still just not that impressed with Washington. I think at times they have weapons. I think Chris Thompson is a really good back out of the backfield. He's a good multifaceted back. Cousins is just not consistent enough, and I just don't believe in Washington's defense. But New Orleans at home, I think they've got two really good running backs. When Mark Ingram is on, I think Alvin Kamara is actually one of the more underrated running backs in the league. Drew Brees is still playing at a very high level, and again, like we talked about at the beginning, New Orleans' defense has improved. At home, I just don't see where Washington wins this game. So I'm going to go New Orleans to go 8 in a row.
You think they'll cover the 8 points?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go with Matt. I think the Saints are too powerful right now. They can play a little bit of defense. I mean, they scored 47 points last week, Oz, without Drew Brees throwing a touchdown pass.
Well, they ran the ball 295 yards, I think it was. 295 yards rushing. I mean, who does that nowadays? And this is the team that decided they didn't need Adrian Peterson. I mean, Matt was saying this is a good running game. This is an awesome running game. And the defense, since about week 3 or 4, when they were convinced this was a bottom 5 defense in the league, and it really was, has been shutting down quarterbacks left or right. They shut down everybody not named Matthew Stafford. I mean, what hope does Washington have? And the sick thing is you look at this New Orleans schedule, the toughest game they have left is against the Rams. Other than that, they're going to win every single game. They're going to go 14-2 this season. Mark my words.
Yeah,
Saints are going to win this game. They're going to cover.
Wait a second. I'm not going to mark your freaking words because last week you were on here. You said they were going to lose to Buffalo.
Yeah.
You missed by 37 points. So don't tell me they're going to win every game now because you told us to take it to the bank.
Come on, Oz. I'm on vacation in Florida. I couldn't be here last week. You picked Buffalo, and now you're going to say New Orleans. I'm sorry.
Come on, Oz.
Last week, what I said was this. I was looking at the schedule, and I said...
You said they will win every game but this one.
Right. You
were wrong.
Hey, I had to correct it just to make sure you put Buffalo down because you put the Saints down.
It's a good thing because it was a stupid pick when I thought he picked Buffalo. All right.
I know, he would have won.
Brian?
The only thing I can say is this needs to be picked in song, and we all need to sing when the Saints come marching in. That's the only way you can go with this pick. You cannot pick Washington. Washington is way too inconsistent, and the Saints are looking strong. So strike up the music, folks. Pick the Saints.
Alex Golden.
Is that my cue to sing there?
Well, it's too late now because you asked or you ruined it.
I was going to do it, but I was a little embarrassed because I don't want people to hear me singing. But I still can't get over how mad Matt was at himself for calling Arizona the Saints Arizona at first. That was
pathetic.
This has been a bad pick for Alex and Matt, or Oz and Matt all together.
Yeah, it's just funny to me that he got so frustrated with himself. It was pretty great, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints here. I don't see any reason why not to. I think the Redskins are mediocre at best, and the Saints are the hottest team in football right now, arguably. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints.
And I think I am going to file a grievance with Commissioner Goodell because there's no 49ers or Colts game this week, and I'm really disappointed. The next game out we got because it's fun. The Buffalo. Well, watch how much fun. Hey, wait a second. After this game, I'm going to say the next game's to Cincinnati, and before I get Cincinnati out, I'm going to have Alex or Matt running their mouth. So then you know why I missed the Colts or 49er play.
Because your team is just as good as ours.
Yeah, your team
Wait a second.
You're the same team.
I'm pretty sure that Alex's team and my team both beat your team. And have both
doesn't
won
matter. They're all the same team.
This is the dumbest crap I've ever heard. You're going to sit there and
complain. Your
team
sucks, Mike. It's so bad.
Your team
is just as bad as any team.
Really?
You have the worst coach, the worst owner, maybe the worst offensive line.
If we don't have the worst offensive
and they're
line,
the most inept team celebrating your 50th anniversary of complete ineptitude.
Yeah. But your complete ineptitude is saying that a team with 1 win is as good as 2 teams with 3 wins that both beat your team.
Hey, they've lost some overtime games. As you always say, a couple of things could turn around for every team.
Yeah, but see, for teams that are losers...
Your team is a complete joke, and you know it.
It's a complete... The 49ers have been in the Super Bowl in the 21st century. Okay, think about that. The Bengals have not. The Bengals have
lost.
Not been
they lost. Bowl.
I was in 8th grade the last time you guys won a playoff game. Congratulations, Mike.
So that tells me that you were, still in high school the last time you won a Super Bowl.
And how old when your team won a Super Bowl?
Matt, can I say something here? Let me say something here. Oz. Do me a favor, please. Next week, before the show, get a hold of my bookie so that we can put on there the over-under when this freaking conversation is going to start on the show.
Awesome.
I take the under. I'll take the under, and I'll spark it.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, you know what? He lives in California. He's a liberal, so you don't know what he means by spark it.
That's right. That's a double entendre.
That's true.
All right, the next game, the Buffalo Bills. We got beat 47-10, and they're still better than San Francisco 49ers.
And the
Los
Bengals.
Angeles Chargers. Alex Golden, who you got?
What? I don't even know who's playing. All I heard was Buffalo.
Buffalo at
They're
the
playing
Chargers.
at Los Angeles Chargers.
At Los Angeles Chargers. Ooh, this is a tough one. Man, I'm gonna go with Buffalo here, even though I don't like either team right now. Yeah, give me Buffalo, and I'll take Buffalo by 3 points.
All right, Oz.
Buffalo now feels to me, and I wish I had known this last week, but they feel to me like that team that plays above their level the first half of the season and then comes crashing down to earth in the second half. The Chargers, I think, are a competent team. They got some good teams at good positions. So I'm going to take the Chargers at home in front of about, 87 fans, I think.
Now, there'll probably be 30,000 people there. They're just all going to be from Buffalo or Buffalo transfer.
No way. Buffalo. How many Buffalo fans do you think are in Los Angeles? There's a few to be sure, but not thousands.
There's a ton. There's millions of people there. You watch, it's going to be all red, white, and blue.
Well, I would be surprised because usually you can expect that with visiting teams like the Patriots or the Raiders or like that, but I don't know. I don't know about Buffalo. We'll see. But I expect a very low turnout. This could be the lowest turnout of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oz against my better judgment. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Brian?
Oh, I'm going to stick with Buffalo in this one. Against my better judgment, but I'll stick with Buffalo in this one.
All right, Oz. It's really rude when somebody makes a pick you don't agree with, and you go, "Ah."
I said, "Wow."
Wow is bad too.
Great
Alex, you're in last place. Other than Alex, and Alex is only in last place because he missed the first 4 or 5 shows.
Alex, a lot to do it by percentage.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I already picked this. I was the first one. I think you missed Matt.
Oh, yeah, I got you down there. I don't miss Matt at all.
I miss Matt.
We don't miss each other.
Matt, you want to pick this game?
I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to go with them in a close game, but I think Buffalo's in real trouble.
All right. Now, if you all see how I did that, Matt was being an instigator again on the show. So what I did is I gave him a timeout. I made him sit in the corner, and I made him go last that time. All right, the next game.
Do we have to call you Mistress Mike?
Why would you call me that?
Because you're acting like a dominatrix, man.
Can a man be a dominatrix?
Well, I guess you're finding out, huh? I mean, should we call you
No, I'm not. You're the one who lives in California. I'm not finding that out. All right.
Wow.
All right. The next game, we've got the underrated Cincinnati Bengals, led by Marvin Lewis. See, I told you, I couldn't even get Cincinnati out, and I get this shit.
This is so much fun, Mike. Someone's got to give your crap right back to you. This is great.
But I wasn't saying anything to you. I haven't even talked about.
I know you just said Cincinnati.
Underrated.
Whenever my team came up, you have to give me Niner comments, so we got to give it back to you.
I didn't make a comment about the Niners. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Denver Broncos. Denver's favored by 2.5. Schmitty, let's get a grown-up in here.
Oh, shit, you picked the wrong person on that one.
I know, but you're as close as we got.
Schmitty's chaperoning all of us.
I'm going to take Denver in this. The Bengals are a team that should be able to win this game, but I'm just not convinced that they will win this game. So I'll take Denver.
All right, Alex Golden.
Oh, don't do this to me. I honestly just want to do what Oz did a couple weeks ago when I missed and take a tie.
Okay.
Because I just
don't say that unless you mean it.
Yeah.
Hey, I just don't want
now
to pick
Matt's
the Bengals
being the dominant one.
Denver. I just hate Denver right now. I still think Tim Tebow's a better quarterback than the three that they have right now. And it's just garbage out there in Denver. It's disgusting. But, like I said last week, the Bengals are garbage. So since they're a little bit nicer than garbage, I'll pick the Bengals to win this game. But I really don't want to do that, and I really hope they lose.
Such bitterness. All right, Matt.
Where's this game at?
Does it matter? Denver.
It does matter a little bit.
Matters a great
deal. The Bengals usually play better on the road.
That's true. But I think Denver's going to sack Andy Dalton like about 95 times. So I'm going to take Denver by a field goal.
All right. Next up, we've got Oz Davis.
Yeah, I just want to say we've been picking on the Bengals a lot, so I'm just going to say something nice about the Bengals is that they are the undisputed, by far, leader in the NFL in player ejections. In fact, the line on this game is 1.5 over/under player ejections for the Bengals. I think I'm going to go the over on that, and I'm going to take Denver to win this game.
All right. Well, see, at least Oz doesn't rip my team.
How is that not ripping?
It's not, because player ejections means there's a fight going on, and I love watching fights.
If we were talking about player ejections, I'm right there with you, Mike. I would not have made fun of them because they are amazing at that.
I mean, there's nothing like a good fight. Schmitty, you got my back on this, right?
I got you.
All right. I love a good fight. You can ask anybody that ever played for me above the high school level. If you get in a fight, I'm not going to get mad because I want to watch it. All right. If you don't win, though, then I got to get somebody tougher to replace you so we can win the fight next time. All right.
Did Perfect win the fight? I didn't see it.
Yeah, he hit the ref. I'll tell you what. If anybody thinks that was worth an ejection, they're stupid. I mean, he walked by, the referee put his arm on Perfect, which I didn't know a player could be touched by a referee. And all he did was kind of move his arm off of him, and they threw him out of the game. It's a bunch of horse shit. Because it's an old 60-year-old man that is pissed off at the world because he can't even get a hard-on anymore. So he took it out on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Jeez, well, Mike, that's not a silk description, is it?
Reputation.
What? Yeah, it's a reputation, too. But it was just an old white guy. It's that white privilege. Oz, you know what I'm talking about. You're a liberal.
Oh, here we go.
See, I was going to say, I was hoping you'd go off on this, Mike, because I wanted to compliment the Bengals on the other thing they lead the league in, which is persecution complex.
No, they don't. That's the 49ers. That's the 49ers.
No, it's all of us.
No, the 49ers look at their Lombardi trophies, and they don't feel persecuted at all.
Yeah, they do, because they haven't seen one since 1994.
Just saying is all. Just saying is all.
All right. So, do I have to pick this game?
You have to.
Yes.
Well, I'm
I'm
doing this
afraid so
game.
much.
I'm doing this game on ABC or CBS or NBC, so I'm gonna have to not pick this game. I'm gonna write down who I'm picking, and then I'll let you
Oh,
guys
you have
know
to
next
tell.
week's show.
Sorry, Mike. You got to tell us. That's the rules.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
so you're-
gonna sign language it to you. All right, everybody, listen
Pick
really
the
close.
Broncos. You can't even
Listen
admit it.
really
Smoke
close.
signal.
I'm gonna take the Cincinnati Bengals against my better judgment, just because I think Denver is more, as Alex Golden would put it, garbage than the Cincinnati Bengals are. They might even be more garbage than the Colts, but they're still better than the 49ers. The next game,
Go ahead.
New England Patriots, the New England Patriots at Oakland in Mexico. I don't know why President Trump allowed this to happen, but New England is a 7-point favorite. I'll start off here. I'm going to take New England because Bill Belichick's still there and Tom Brady's still there. I'll give you the points, and I will then ask Alex Golden who you got.
Yeah, this is a great game for the Patriots to go down there and win. It's the Raiders who have a cool named head coach, but like you guys have said, he's not very good. So as much as I like the name Jack Del Rio, his coaching abilities have just shown us that he's not worthy of that head coaching position. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Patriots here, and I'm taking the points.
All right. I never knew anybody to fall in love with a name like that. You don't have a man crush on his name, do you?
No, I just think it's cool. That sounds better than Alex Golden.
Alex, what do you think about somebody that claims to have a man crush on another man?
No comment. I'm not getting in this homophobic situation.
But what if
It's
again.
not
But what if
homophobic
the man-
because
but what if
last
the man is
week
Chris
we
Jones,
did
the most
we did
dominant
this-
coach in the CFL.
we did the
That's the real
CFL
question.
Weekly show last week, and Oz said he had a man crush on another
On
man.
Chris Jones. Chris Jones.
Yeah, on a coach that's
Right.
short and chubby.
Right. But it's a man
what was
crush.
his-
It's not a sex thing. It's a
What is the reason for your man crush?
Because Chris Jones is coaching his Saskatchewan Roughriders right now, possibly to the Grey Cup. He has just done a fantastic job rebuilding this team in the CFL, which was in the trash heap before this season, and now is a Grey Cup contender for years to come. I just think he's doing
Well, that's a different. That's a different man crush.
Wait, though. He didn't tell the whole story. Schmitty, did he not last week say that he loved the way those khakis fit Chris Jones?
He did not say that.
I seem to recall there was something mentioned about khakis, but I mean,
Yeah, I really missed a fun show last week.
I got to be honest with you. When the whole thing with Man Crush came up, I immediately stopped listening because I didn't want to dirty my ears.
All right. Brian, New England -7 at Oakland.
New England, every single way.
All right. Oz, you want to pick the upset here?
No. Unfortunately, the problem is that the Raiders need this game. It's basically a home game for them, and they're not going to get it because Del Rio's against Belichick. But I did want to throw this around. I wanted to ask you guys this. What do you think of the Martellus Bennett situation? Because I'll tell you what, I'm completely okay. I'm completely okay with it, and I buy the grueling truths rhetoric that the NFL is against the Patriots because the Patriots are one of the only teams interested in winning every year.
All right. Let's go to Matt on that because Matt knows a few people in Green Bay.
Well, I just know that I'm not up there currently, as I'm in Florida, but I just know from the people that I talk to that everyone is they hate Martellus Bennett like so much. So I think everybody's trying to come out and defend the team doctor. I don't really know who to believe on this, but I think I'd probably side with Green Bay on this. I don't know that I'd buy much of Martellus Bennett or his brother on just about anything. I think they're both very, very questionable in the integrity department. However, I do agree that New England is the one that's most interested in winning, and they find ways to take guys that have issues, guys like LeGarrette Blount, and they turn them into winners. And, getting Martellus Bennett, I think, is going to help them. But as far as, who's to blame on the injury situation, I'm not really sure. But I do think it's interesting that he suited up after, not being able to play after a bye week for Green Bay.
Yeah, and
So
looked
I think that's
exactly
kinda
like
funny.
he did last season.
Yeah, and that was that one catch for like 25 yards or whatever he had. That was more than anything he did while he was in Green Bay. I think when Aaron Rodgers went down, that Martellus Bennett was like, I don't know if I want to play, because that's what he came out and tweeted. So I just think that's just the way that guy kind of is. So I think he just kind of went, I don't really want to play with Brett Hundley. We're not going to win anything. And lo and behold, he gets cut, and who picks him up? So I think he wants to go where he can win a Super Bowl, and New England's probably the best place for him.
All right, Matt, you want to pick the New England-Oakland game?
Yeah, I think New England's going to win this. Oakland has not recorded an interception all year. Tom Brady rarely throws one. So I think New England's going to roll all over them.
All right, the next game, we got a battle in the NFC East. This is a must-win for Dallas if they want to stay in the competition for first place. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. Oz.
Well, the Eagles are coming off a bye week, and I know that because I looked it up. I was sure to look it up this week. Okay, but between the Elliott suspension, thank you. Between the Elliott suspension and the gap at left tackle, the Eagles are just too good. The Eagles look like a Super Bowl team, and Dallas does not. Eagles win, and they cover this 3.5, and I've already booked that at my bookie.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Oz on this. Brian?
Yeah, first thing I want to do is we have a listener on the show in Texas who's a big Eagles fan. Her name is Becky. So for you, darling, I'm going to pick the Eagles in this one.
Oh, that was sweet, Brian.
Wow.
I know it
Did
was.
you just say darling?
I did
really?
say darling.
You've been in Texas too
We're all
long. It's time to
We're
come
all
home.
blushing here.
I'm not blushing.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's time to come home. It's time to come home, Brian. Because 3 years ago, that would have been darling.
I mean, what did you do? Take off your cowboy hat like John Wayne?
Little
I
lady.
did. I did.
I did. I was as sweet as a Texas whatever I was, but I was. That's how I got to listen to the show.
That was sweet enough you could live
It
out
was.
there with Oz.
Nah, that's called being sweet and knowing that she'll love me forever for doing this for her. So
This is one special lady.
All right. Alex?
Well, to all our Texas listeners out there, how y'all doing?
you can't do it because you've never lived in Texas. So
Well, only steers and queers come from Texas.
Oh, you got us that. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to pick the Eagles here both ways.
All righty. Matt?
Yeah, I think the Eagles will win this game. The only thing is, I will say this. I think everyone's expecting the Eagles to win by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I don't think it's going to go that way. I do think Dallas is in trouble. However, I do think they're also still a pretty good team, and their season is hanging by a thread. They got to win this game. They're at home. I do think they're going to come out and put a pretty good effort out there. But in the end, Philly will probably win the game. I think it'll be a lot closer than we think.
All right, the next game, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is favored by 3. I'm going to go first. I'm going to take Atlanta and the points. I think Atlanta wins this game straight up. Matt?
Yeah, Atlanta should win this game straight up. Seattle's just one of those teams that, they can be a real wild card at home, but I just think they've lost too much. They've just got too many problems. Atlanta needs to win this game, just kind of get over the whole, the narrative that they're struggling. They need to win this game and show everybody that they're still the NFC champions.
All right, Alex Golden?
Yeah, well, what do we know about Devontae Freeman, the running back for the Falcons? Is he out or is he in for this game? Because I know he had an injury.
Oz?
I don't know anything yet.
Questionable, but so is Dwayne Brown.
So, I mean, it's way too early to tell. basically. This is the Monday night game. So.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I think that you said it's at Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Seattle here, and I think it's just going to make the NFC West divisional race a little bit tougher. Now, I have been saying I think Seattle is going to win the division since I've been on the show, even though the Rams have proven me wrong so far. I think that the Seahawks do see the schedule in front of the Rams, and they have a real chance here to win the division. So I'm going to pick Seattle to win here. And let's be honest, Atlanta has not looked very good. Even though they won last week, they still have not looked very good, and we've talked about that. You said it last week, Mike, that Super Bowl hangover is a real thing. So yeah, I'm going to pick Seattle here.
All right, Brian.
I'm going to pick Falcons in this. With all the injuries going on in Seattle, all the issues. If the Falcons are going to turn it on, this has got to be the time. And this is going to be a great environment to do that. So I'll go with the Falcons.
Yeah, and this is a game, if you remember last year, where Atlanta outplayed them, won the game, and it was taken by one of those 60-year-old angry men that didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, that's right. The Julio Jones pass interference that
Yeah.
they did not call on Richard Sherman.
So, speaking of 60-year-old men that don't know what the hell they're doing, Oz, you want to pick this one?
I'm not 60. Richard Sherman
The rest of it's correct.
Richard Sherman is out, of course, so that means that the Seattle secondary is open for business. But the Falcons have been terrible outside of the first half this year, and really outside of the first quarter. I'm going to take Seattle, but I'm depending on Dwayne Brown. Now, Dwayne Brown, of course, this far out is still questionable. He sprained his ankle in the Thursday game, but he's getting 11 days rest. That's the longest you can get without a bye. So I'm depending on Dwayne Brown coming back, because with Dwayne Brown, this offensive line is at least above average again. So they can play, and they can score more points than Atlanta right now. So I'm going to go for Seattle.
All right, guys, that's all the games for Week 11. So let's go ahead and wrap it up with final thoughts. Matt Andruscavage.
Well, I think we got a few interesting games here that could really determine playoff seeding. So those are the games I'm hoping are not blowouts. I hope they're really good.
All right, let's go to Alex.
Yeah, I know we talked about that Vikings game being possibly the game of the week, but I think that Monday Night Football game is actually more of the game of the week for me, just because of the implications that it has for both teams and their playoff runs. And another thing I wanted to say real quick, you guys are talking about that Martellus Bennett situation with Green Bay and how he didn't want to be there anymore. Something that kind of came up here in Indianapolis was Vontae Davis, who was cut by the Colts.
Yeah.
And it was said it was a coach's decision, and it ended up coming out that he needed groin surgery after he was cut. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he just hasn't played good this year, and he's a free agent next year. So I think Vontae's trying to cover up himself to looking up like he had an issue with his groin, and he just isn't playing good football right now. So I think he's trying to protect himself for the market, but that's an interesting take there that Matt had, and I agree with Matt completely about Martellus Bennett and the Packers situation. And other than that, that's all I had to say.
Yeah, anytime Matt agrees with the Green Bay Packers, I'll agree with Matt, because I know what that takes for him to do that.
That's like you agreeing with the Steelers, right?
I'm shocked, Mike, because I thought you'd be right in line with the Patriots on this one. Look, the thing is, Martellus Bennett is exercising his right as a player. And, you just brought up Vontae Davis here. Vontae Davis was cut because he was no longer immediately of use to that team. Okay? And if a team will cut you for that reason, I don't see any reason why you can't just say, I don't want to play for this team. It's the same thing. It's just a player saying it instead of the team. I don't see what the problem is here at all. And
I don't think that's what
Mike
happened in Green Bay, though.
Yeah, it's not what happened. Go ahead, Matt.
He did. He was deceitful. He was deceitful in Green Bay. Okay, I don't like the way that he did it, but the ends are completely justifiable.
Really?
Well,
Because this is the problem now.
I think so.
If you have that happen, Oz, if people start doing this, doesn't that affect the game a little bit?
Well, a little bit, but so what? The coaches aren't loyal. The owners sure as hell aren't loyal. They'll move cities. I mean, you expect the players to be loyal? Why?
Because if it
are
affects the
spreading
product.
that.
Wait a second, Oz. What you just said is one of the main reasons why the NFL is losing interest. They're moving cities. They don't care about the fans. So when you throw on, well, maybe the players don't give a damn about the fans either. You're going to get even less fans that care.
Okay, but here's the thing. What do young fans care about most? I'll tell you what, fantasy football. That's individual players, and they don't care. In fact, fantasy football players like it that Bennett is in New England because maybe now he'll get them some stats. Okay? I think the young folks know that it's about individuals and not about teams like we've been taught for generations. It's not about owners.
But this is the thing, Oz. I think everybody's realizing that now, and that's the problem. It's all about individuals. Nobody's going to follow individuals.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
It's just because it's fantasy football. You know, you just took away why the game matters. The game matters to a bunch of, under 40 idiots that think of fantasy football means they could run and be a GM of a real football team. It's just like fans that sit there and bitch. Hey, wait a second. Am I talking? I mean, if you want, I'll shut up and you can just talk for the next 10 minutes about it. But, I mean, let me get out what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is this. The NFL is being destroyed by this. Our entire culture and society is being destroyed by people that only put themselves before anything else. And I'll tell you, in 1985, if the Bengals lost a game, it killed my whole week. Anymore, if the Bengals lose a game, I don't care. I watched the game. I joke about it with you guys. If somebody would have talked to me about the Bengals the way Matt does or Alex does, and we all know we're joking, but if you'd have done that in school, I'd have thrown a punch at you. But now there is no closeness with the fans, and a lot of that is you get a Robert Kraft who gives the best seats, and all these guys do this. They give the best seats to corporations. They don't give them to fans. You could be a fan for 50 years, and they'll give your seat to some millionaire corporation because that's all they care about. So you're right. The owners only care about that. You know, the coaches only care about that, and the players only care about that. But at some point, you have to draw a line, or the entire sport's going to go and end up being like professional wrestling, where it just kind of disappears, except unless you can invent some storyline.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. You know, as far as Martellus Bennett goes, Oz, I really believe what happened there was Martellus Bennett was dead set on leaving. And while, you know, okay, you can say that's his right, and that's anyone's right, but the problem, this is where I would side with Green Bay. I think they were like, what in the heck is going on with you that you can't play after a bye week and this mysterious shoulder injury just kind of popped up? And they kind of realized that he's quitting on the team after tweeting out that he's going to retire and he's going to play 8 more games. You know, the writing's on the wall, and I think they just, you know, they had a dispute behind closed doors.
But it would have been okay if they just up and said, okay, Martellus Bennett, you haven't made a catch of over 17 yards for us this season. We're going to cut you. That would have been okay.
Well, okay, right? But
that's okay, right?
No, but let me finish on this. So that is what goes on, and that's why teams can, you know, play. You know, everyone knows that that's the business. But that isn't what happened. Green Bay would be really dumb to just do that because they did invest money in him, and they really do need a tight end. They've got a real tight end problem, you know.
Okay, tell it to Vontae Davis, who should be still making a salary, even though he's injured, but because he isn't of use to some billionaire who we're supposed to be loyal to as fans, not the players, the owners, right?
You're not supposed to be. No, wait a second. You're not supposed to be loyal to an owner.
No, you're supposed to be loyal to a label of a team. You know what, Mike?
And you should be loyal to your contract as much as you can.
Since you brought in the society thing, look, here's the reality. This is the 21st century, okay? It is now the time for the individuals to strike out against the 1%. Okay, it's time for the individuals to stop saying we're not going to be used anymore. We're not going to be cotton picking slaves anymore. We're not. And if the NFL can't adapt to that, screw it. I'll watch the NBA because they can.
Yeah.
The NBA is run by big corporations too, Oz.
Yeah, but those
the NFL is going to degenerate into the NBA.
The greater culture of America and the world, I might point out, than these provincial NFL owners like Jerry Jones, who's dribbling into a cup and complaining about, the commissioner that he doesn't like in public. Now, come on now. If the NFL can't adapt to individuals seeking their rights, well, then maybe it doesn't deserve to exist. I mean, it's bad enough that they propagate steroid use and they back wife beaters if they can run for 200 yards.
Yeah, and they'll give you all kind of Vicodin too.
Exactly. It's bad enough that they're drug pushing, wife beaters. And now here's a guy who wants his rights and he can't get it any other way besides being duplicitous. And we're shitting all over him. And you're saying that's what's wrong with the game, that he doesn't want to stay chained up to his slave owner.
Oh, you got me, Oz. I'm with Oz now. I'm with Oz.
The overall argument, where the more broad argument of Oz, you're absolutely right. I'm just saying the circumstances surrounding Martellus Bennett, I think I know a little bit about it. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying, that those are the circumstances. Now, I'd be interested in knowing what Alex knows about Vontae Davis.
Real quick, Oz, how about this? If you really want to do it that way, why don't you just tell him, hey, I'm not playing for your ass anymore? Why do you gotta lie about it? Because if you really want to stand up against the system and the corporation,
right, which is what the Bennetts do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just say, hell, I'm not going to play for you. I'm going to play for somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't want to live in Green Bay.
But then they put him on the PUP list, and he doesn't play a whole game for the rest of the year. At least he gets paid, okay? Honestly enough, at least he gets paid. But, I mean, that's what would have happened. And I think you should admire the fact that Bennett wants to play. He wants to play ball. For a winning team.
He wants to play for somebody else.
Admirable.
He clearly was done in Green Bay.
Yeah,
but maybe the fact that it's obvious he quit on the team. I think that's why the Packers cut him.
Sure.
Yeah, but I understand Oz too, because if you're a player, they can quit on you whenever they want also.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm with Oz. Oz, you won me over on that one. You're right.
Wow.
The overall argument of the broad argument, I think you're right. You're absolutely right about, and it might even be right about Bennett. I just wanted to make sure we're not creating a straw man about Bennett. It was obvious he did quit on the team. I don't know enough about Vontae Davis to comment on it.
How about this though? Didn't the owner quit on the team because he keeps Mike McCarthy's dumbass there?
Yes.
Well, there is no owner. That's the problem in Green Bay.
Yeah, it is, because every person in Green Bay owns the team. I've been there before.
Yeah, but that's all on paper. It doesn't mean a thing. And they all know it.
No, but they won't admit it.
Stock, and those shareholder meetings are worthless. It's all it is just a fan get-together. They do nothing. It's the board that runs it and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I heard they all just sit around with cheese heads on and no clothes.
That is no lie. Well, maybe they got some clothes on, but mostly.
Matt knows,
but mostly, you're right.
Matt's been to a meeting; he would know.
No, I get the paper. I've seen the paper. I see the pictures. It's not pretty.
All right, Brian, are you there still?
Well, yeah. As I sat here and I've listened to this, to be very honest, there's nobody that's wrong here in what being said. I agree. As Oz kind of went with it, I tend to. I was like, he's making a very valid point. But the problem with this whole process is, look at how we got to this point, to where now there's no loyalty to anybody. Their players don't have loyalty, coaches don't have loyalty, owners don't have loyalty. So therefore, what's the next thing not to have loyalty? The fans. So now once the fans don't have loyalty, here we are.
Yeah,
I know Mike, and Mike said this, and when Mike said this, I thought to myself, he's exactly right, because I can remember a time growing up. I was born in Pittsburgh, going to school. I went to school in Ohio. You got the Browns, Bengals fans, and I mean, it was, somebody would talk bad about the Steelers, and it was about time to start punching somebody.
Yeah,
and so now, the Steelers lose, and it might upset me, but it doesn't ruin my whole week, because, and the Steelers have probably been one of the most loyal organizations out there. However, it has changed so much that everybody's loyalty is good. And I don't know how you get that back, but that's the problem. There's no loyalty. Because the one thing that has happened, players and coaches, and I'm going to use coaches as an example, being one, is how many times do you give loyalty to an organization that they don't give loyalty to you?
Exactly.
Same way with players. And that's the problem right now. That's where this is all at. This is not, listening to you guys as I'm listening to you, it's like, we can take all these points and put them together, and there's nobody wrong. But it really comes down to loyalty has been defeated all across the board, and now it's coming to the fans. We're not loyal.
The fans aren't loyal either.
Yeah, and the fans aren't loyal.
I'm not. The reason why the Rams are my favorite team is because I moved to Los Angeles area. That's why the Rams are my favorite team. A few years ago, my favorite team was the Patriots because I won a lot of money on them at the sports book. I mean, seriously, I don't have any. Why should I have loyalty to these teams? I mean, LA did not have a team when I moved here. Why should I be loyal to? Why? There's no point. I like good football. I don't have to be loyal to a team.
And really, if you want to be honest, probably the few NFL franchises right now that have a sense of loyalty, you probably could say the Patriots, and you probably could say Pittsburgh, and I'm not sure who else you would add to that.
The Packers, the Bears.
Yeah, maybe.
That's about it.
But
I think it stops.
I mean, but that's
I know what you're saying, Brian,
and
because you got a lot of teams that things have changed so much. Even teams that haven't moved around, it's just a different animal now.
It is. It's not the same animal, and I think Mike said this, and when he said this, it was like, yeah, there's another point. Because of the lack of loyalty to a team, fans now have a certain sense of loyalty to certain players, and the reason because of the fantasy football is such a big deal. So now people don't watch football necessarily now to root on their favorite team. They're watching football to see what their running back did, 125 yards on 25 carries, 3 touchdowns.
I know so many people
where
like
the game
that.
has changed.
Exactly. I know so many people like that, and I'm guilty of it too. After like 6 or 7 straight losses, I care. I want my team to win. I care about it, but the game's changed a lot. I don't care about football quite as much as I used to, just because I admit I'm losing interest, but I admit that the fallback is, well, I'll just see what my fantasy team's doing. And I know people that is all they care about is their fantasy team.
Well,
they don't care one iota about their team.
I can tell you this, Matt, and I think you're the same way from talking to you on a Sunday, is if the Bengals are on, I'll watch that game completely through. But if the Bengals aren't on, I watch the red zone. And it's not because I play fantasy football. I don't. I just don't want to watch commercials, and I don't want 30 seconds in between every play.
Yeah.
Right.
Red zone is awesome.
Yeah.
Red zone is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is this. The NFL has made these games almost unwatchable. From the way guys have to play, to the way the rules have been changed, to the way that we shouldn't have to have Mike Pereira sit there and give us a 4-minute dissertation on what a rule is, when you can clearly tell when he's explaining it to you that he's not really sure either. So, I mean, if you don't know what the penalty is,
core math.
I mean, come on. We got to watch it to see if it's a catch or not? I mean, give me a break.
This all boils down to a societal problem. This all comes down to, we're not loyalty in sports because we're not loyalty. We don't have loyalty in a society.
But it's not, it's not a problem. It's an evolution. It's a reaction. That's the thing. And we must not fight this kind of thing. We must adapt to it or die.
Well, and the thing is this, it's kind of like if your kid's an asshole when he's 2 and you let him keep being an asshole, don't be surprised if he grows up to be an asshole.
Except your child
has been building and building for years.
Except that your child is smaller than you, and you can control your child. You can't control society. You can't control even the NFL.
Yeah, but the thing is this: the way society is, you can't control your child anymore.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, seriously, if you got a 4-year-old who can learn how to deal 911 and say that daddy's being mean to him because he wouldn't buy you a toy, hell, they'll have CPS at your house.
That's exactly how it is.
And when CPS comes to your house, for anybody listening, you don't have to let them in unless they've got a warrant. I'm telling you, I got a lab.
This happened to my brother-in-law.
Hold on, I got a lab.
That exact scenario happened to my brother-in-law. It's true.
It happened to me. And what it was this. My son, we've got a lab dog. He was a puppy. He was like a year old, but he's pretty big. And he likes to jump on my son and rip his shirt and stuff. And he scratched my son's face. The next day, my son comes home and tells me that the teachers at Central Elementary School, her name was Andrea Spate, that bitch was the principal, if anybody listened. And I know people from Lawrenceburg listen, so you can bring this back to her. But she calls me, all right? But right when my son's getting out the bus, and she said, your son had scratches on his face. I said, yeah, I know. It's because a dog scratched him. And she said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I watched it, I'm sure. About 5:30 that evening, some little fat woman in a little white car comes pulling up. She waddles up to my front door, and she's beating on the door. All right, I open the door, and she says, this is CPS. I need to talk to you about your child. And, my kids are kind of assholes, so I've been waiting on this call. I figured he'd kick somebody's ass or something. But I said, what do you want to talk about? She said, well, I want to talk to Grant. And I said, why do you want to talk to him? And she said, because he had marks on him today, and he claimed that it was his dog that did it. And I said, it was. And she said, well, I need to come in and look at your house and talk to him by himself. And I said, well, I don't think you're going to do that. And she said, well, you have to let me or I'll call the police. And I walked in my house, I shut the door, and I brought her the phone back out, and I said, here, you don't have to waste your minutes. You can call him from mine. And she didn't call him. And she looked at me and she said, well, you have to let me talk to him. I said, not without a warrant. I said, now I said a bad word. I admit it. Anybody that knows me knows I don't say many bad words. But I asked her I just looked at her and I said, could you please leave my property? And to make a long story short, I never heard from him again. But the thing is this, they'll do that to get you to let them in their house. And then they're going to pick you apart, and they're going to try to take your kid. And the thing I've noticed from CPS is this. If a kid is in a loving home, they'll pull his ass. But if a kid's being abused, they'll leave him there.
Yep.
And it all comes back to this. It's a government entity, and the government doesn't want you to raise your kid. The government wants you to let them raise your kid. That's why I took my kids out of public schools. My kids are homeschooled. They don't have to put up with the BS of, your son's a bully because he got punched in the face and he punched the kid back. That's not a bully. So that's my final thought. And if you're with CPS and you think you're going to mess with me because of that, come on. All right.
So who do you got in the spread when CPS visits Mike's house? The CPS has to travel on the road to the Goodpaster home. Who do you have in the spread in that?
They're 0-1 so far, remember.
I'll go with Mike to that. I've been to his house, so I'll go with Mike on that.
Yeah, I think Mike in the points on that one too.
Yeah. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to know what the point spread is. Whatever it is, go with Mike.
Brian has slept in my house.
Yes, and I still am alive.
And Becky, it was purely platonic.
Yes, it was.
Sure, we might have thought about it. But we didn't do it. All right, guys. Remember, you can hear the NFL Pick'em Show every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock on the Grueling Truth Radio Network. You can go to thegruelingtruth.net. You can listen to it live on our website. You can listen to it live on Spreaker. Just go type in the Grueling Truth. You can also download the iOS on iTunes and have the app where you can listen to the show whenever it's up. I want to remind you guys that me, Brian, Oz, and Robert Drummond will be previewing the CFL playoff games this weekend, probably tomorrow night. Keep an eye out for that. You can go on to grillingtruth.net right now and listen to me and Steve Risley from the 1981 World National Champion Indiana Hoosiers as we break down the Hoosiers' first two disappointing games and look forward to tomorrow's game against the Seton Hall Pirates. Matt, you guys got a 49ers show this week, you and Dexter?
Not this week. We talked this week. The Niners are on a bye this week, so we're actually going to meet up next week when I get back from vacation.
All right. Me and Joe Kelly should be back with the Cincinnati Bengals show for the three people that care about that. Alex, you want to tell everybody about the Courtroom podcast and Let's Talk Colts?
Yeah, Let's Talk Colts is taking a bye this week as well because we're off as well. And Courtroom podcast, we'll be recording an episode tomorrow. And like always, you can find us on iTunes and at The Grueling Truth for all that fun stuff. And, just follow us on Twitter at The Courtroom Pod and follow me on Twitter at AlexGoldenNBA.
And Oz, outside of just the CFL Weekly Pick'em show, I know that you and Joe Pritchard have some plans for the Rouge, White, and Blue this week.
Yeah, we've got the Rouge, White, and Blue. Now, Mr. Pritchard, my co-host, I believe, has had an addition to his family at this point. So
yes,
we're gonna be a tad late this week, but we will do the show. Of course, we've got the division finals in the CFL going down this week. A great time for football fans in America to get in on the CFL. They show those games on ESPN2 and I believe even ESPN1 this weekend. So if you want some extra football, check out CFL. There's going to be some good games this weekend.
All right, and Brian Schmidt, you'll be with me and Robert Drummond on the CFL Pick'em show, but also we do a show with former Alabama offensive lineman, played for Bear Bryant, won 2 national championships, Phil Searcy. You can check out that show, and I think that show's only going to get more interesting the way college football's gone so far this year, Brian.
Yeah, it's getting that time of year, and the funny thing is we did the show this week, and when you look at the games this week, you think to yourself, there's a lot of big point spreads, but remember this, in college football, especially this time of year, is when you see some of the biggest upsets. And I think that's what makes it fun to watch, especially on a Saturday, rainy outside, 40 degrees. Put some chili on and enjoy some college football.
All right, and Oz Davis will not be with the CFL Pick'em show now this week. He just texted me that, Brian. like he just found out he was going to a freaking Lakers game. Who would choose going to the Lakers game over talking
How
to
about that, Alex, huh? How about that,
I'll tell you what,
Lakers,
Alex.
76ers.
Hey.
Lakers, Sixers. Good
Let's talk about that Lakers thing you did with my power rankings.
Oh, yeah, Oz changed the power rankings because
Did I?
Alex was honest about the Lakers.
No, I didn't.
Now, obviously, what
You
we can
reworded
do-
everything I said.
Oz.
Did I? I did? It wasn't me, man.
It wasn't
I promise
me.
You edited it this week. I did not write that.
You edited it, Oz.
Okay.
Oz, what did you say?
I don't know.
Hey, Oz, we could just do the CFL show Thursday night if you want.
Possible. Yeah, let's talk.
All right, but you can also listen to all of our shows on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, anywhere you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Alex Golden, Matt Andruscavage, Brian Schmidt, Oz Davis, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.